Hey guys! So this video is going to be a little different. As you may know, it's now May. Get it? May. And May happens to be a very special month for me and for many others around the world. It's the awareness month for a lot of different diseases, syndromes, all that. And the reason it's special to me is because it's Ehlers-Danlos Awareness Month, which, if you don't know what that is, it's a genetic disorder that causes the connective tissues to be messed up. So I have Ehlers-Danlos. I was diagnosed about 2 years ago, but I've had the symptoms and stuff my whole life. They just never caught it till I was 18. I'm 20 now, by the way. I know, shocker, right? But yeah, I thought I would do a video talking about my experience with Ehlers-Danlos, the diagnostic process, the symptoms, like all of that. And at the end of this video, I'm gonna insert a little short video that I made with different pictures from my life that really show how much I've suffered, I guess. I don't want this to be a sad video. I want to just spread awareness, and maybe if somebody is watching this and they're going through the diagnostic process, or they already know they have it and they've been diagnosed, or if they have the symptoms and have never heard of it until now, I'd love to be a part of the puzzle that helps them get better. So I'll start off with the symptoms that I've had my whole life, pretty much. So, like as a newborn, I was pretty healthy. Like, I had jaundice, which is like the liver thing. A lot of babies are born with that, but mine was pretty bad. And so I had like light therapy to help it, but that's not necessarily an Ehlers-Danlos thing. A lot of babies have that. And I was healthy from pretty much newborn all the way until I was about 2. Once I reached age 2, I started getting really bad UTIs, which, TMI, I know, we're probably not all girls here, but if you're a girl, you probably have gotten at least one in your life. Even guys can get them, but it's not as common. And I would also get these really awful, like, stomach, like, issues. Like, I would throw up for days and days and days, and I would feel sick after eating, as young as 2. And then at 3, I began experiencing swallowing issues. So at 3, I choked a few times. I choked on lettuce, I choked on a grape. And fun fact, I haven't been able to eat grapes since I was about 3 because I remember what it feels like to choke, and that was a very traumatizing feeling. So I started having the swallowing issues, plus the stomach issues. Then about age 8, maybe 9, 8 or 9, somewhere in there, I started getting knee pain, which is not common for small children. And of course, my parents and the doctors and everyone was like, oh, it's just growing pain, you'll grow out of it, it's common. But they didn't know what kind of pain it was, because it wasn't just like a slight, like, dull ache. It was like horrible, shooting, sharp pain every time I walked. So I've still got knee pain to this day, and I've had it ever since I was about 8 or 9. Then around like 12 years old, I started getting POTS symptoms, which POTS is a whole other thing, but it's actually very commonly connected back to Ehlers-Danlos syndrome. So POTS is posterior orthostatic tachycardia syndrome, POTS. And it's where you get lightheaded, dizzy, you can faint, you can almost faint, you can just feel really sick and unwell. And I started getting those symptoms, especially during middle school PE. I remember every time I would run the mile, I would feel so lightheaded and so sick afterwards, and a few times I had to get carried off to the nurse's office in a golf cart because I was literally about to pass out. It was so bad. And at that point, I wasn't diagnosed with anything. Then at 12 also, I was diagnosed with scoliosis, which is also connected to Ehlers-Danlos. So I was diagnosed with that. When I was first diagnosed, my curve was 8 degrees, so not bad at all. As I've gotten older, it's gotten worse, and I am now up to a 34-degree curve, I believe. So all of that in itself is pretty rough to like handle. On top of that, I also have very obvious hypermobility, which means that my joints can bend further than a normal person should be able to, which is like a key factor of Ehlers-Danlos. So I'll show you an example of what I mean. So like, for example, my hands are very hypermobile. So a normal pinky, right? You can bend it to like there maybe, right? I don't know because I don't have a normal pinky. Mine, this is a trigger warning. Look away if you don't want to see this. I can do that. Same thing with the other one. And like the thumb thing where you like touch your thumb to your wrist, that's apparently not normal past a certain age, or maybe it's not even normal, I don't know. I can also dislocate my shoulder on command, but I won't show you that because that is pretty freaky and people genuinely gross out when they see that, so I won't show you that. But yeah, I have severe hypermobility. Pretty much every joint in my body is hypermobile, and in my case, it's not like symptomless. It does cause pain when they pop out without me trying. If I purposely do stuff to them, like the pinky or the thumb, that doesn't hurt because I'm doing it. But my knees pop out a lot, and sometimes my shoulders will pop out. My elbow can pop out, my ankles, my fingers sometimes. Even my collarbone has popped, and my rib cage. Which, fun fact, you can actually sublux your rib cage. And subluxing is like dislocating, but a little less severe. So I get all of that without warning, and it can happen at any time. Sometimes I'll just be walking and I'll get that shooting pain somewhere in my body, and I'm like, oh, something just came out. And sure enough, something came out of the socket and I have to pop it back in. What's really weird is sometimes I'll get pain in one spot, but the problem is a whole other spot. My favorite example of this was this past New Year's Eve. I was at my friend Berlin's house and we were making vision boards, and my knee started hurting really bad. Like one of the worst pains I've ever felt in my knees. I couldn't even put weight on it and it hurt so bad. And I tried popping it back into the socket because I thought it was out, and that didn't do anything. And then my ankle popped as I was walking, and all of a sudden the knee pain was gone. So it's like really weird how some joints can actually connect back to the others, which kind of sucks too, because if it doesn't help when you pop the thing out you think is wrong, you have to try to pop everything else to see if that fixes the problem. So those are like the symptoms I've had my whole life. Now I'll talk about the diagnostic process, because that's a whole other thing. So around age 16, I saw a video on YouTube of this girl. Her name was Amy. Some of you might already know who she was. She had a channel dedicated to her experience with Ehlers-Danlos, specifically the hypermobility type, which I'll get into the types in a minute, but I just thought I'd put that out there. And she died. I think she was like 25 or something. She died because of complications from Ehlers-Danlos. But I discovered her channel like soon after she died, and I was like, oh my gosh, like everything that she's experiencing sounds a lot like my life. Like I need to figure out like if this could be something I have. So I did so much research. I researched Mayo Clinic, the Ehlers-Danlos Society, Cleveland Clinic, the Hospital of Orange County, like every medical website basically that was credible. I did tons of research, looking up symptoms and like answers, and can this happen as a child? Can this happen as an adult? Like, if I have this, does it mean this? Like, all sorts of stuff. And by the time I was done with my research and felt like I had enough information to back up my claim, which was like about a year of research, I decided to bring it up to my doctor. So at my primary like yearly physical or whatever, I mentioned like, oh, like, by the way, you know how I have all these symptoms that have gone back my whole life, like look at my medical record, whatever. I think I might have this thing called Ehlers-Danlos syndrome. And my doctor was like, oh, no, that's rare, like, you don't have that, that's so rare, like, what do you want about, basically. So I didn't, like, argue at that point. I might have argued a little bit at a different appointment, we'll talk about that. I didn't argue with her, I was just like, oh, like, okay, whatever, thanks, I guess. So I decided to do some more research, because I was like, maybe I am wrong, like, you know, I gotta do a double take, make sure I know what I'm talking about, and I'm not just this 17-year-old that's like, I have this rare disease, look at me. Anyway, so I did all the research again. I even dug through some new websites that I hadn't checked the first time, and I found some more YouTubers that actually had it and started following their journeys. And again, I brought it up to a different doctor at urgent care, because I was at urgent care for yet another UTI, because I get those. I actually currently have one, it's awesome. But I brought it up to the urgent care doctor, and the urgent care doctor was like, that's not actually that crazy. And I was like, it's not? What? You believe me? What? And he was like, I'm gonna refer you out. I think it was a rheumatologist. As fun fact, there is no Ehlers-Danlos specialist in the United States. So I got referred to a rheumatologist, and she gave me the Baton test, which is this long list of things that you have to meet in order to be diagnosed. So she had me like bend my fingers, bend my knees, bend my elbows, bend over, like went through my entire medical history starting from like newborn, like all of it. And in order to be diagnosed with Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, you have to get a 5 out of 9 on the Baton test. So 5 things checked off out of 9. I got 7 out of 9. And this lady looks at me and goes, yeah, you don't have Ehlers-Danlos syndrome. I'm just gonna put that you have hypermobile spectrum disorder. So that was my original diagnosis at 17 years old, hypermobile spectrum disorder. And I remember I left that appointment in tears. I waited a long time for that appointment. I waited like 6 months to see that lady. And for her to not only let me backtrack a little. She said to my face, well, you passed the Baton test, but you don't have Ehlers-Danlos. And I was like, horrified, basically. Being dismissed like that. It really sucks, being dismissed. It makes you think that you are insane. So she dismissed me. She put hypermobile spectrum disorder in my record. And after I got over the initial shock and horror of being dismissed, I was like, okay, at least she put something in there. I can build off of that. She put something in there. At least she didn't put nothing and say that I was crazy or something. She did put something. So, fast forward another year. I'm about 18 at that point. And my knees were getting worse. Like, way worse. The worst they've been at that point. And I was also having like back pain, like severe back pain in my lower back. And I have a specialist I see for my scoliosis, especially when it was progressing. So I saw my scoliosis doctor, and he was like, I'm gonna refer you to the children's hospital. I was like, oh, like the hospital? Like what? And he was like, yeah, they have a better equipped staff to figure out why. Staffed? Did I say staffed? They have better English is only my first language. They have a better equipped staff. There we go. Better equipped staff. Now it sounds wrong. Better equipped. Yeah, better equipped staff to handle the progression that your scoliosis is going at. So I was like, oh, okay. So I went to the children's hospital, and they did like a CAT scan, and they did an x-ray, and they did like an exam of my spine. And they were going through my history again, and I remember the staff, like the nurse lady was going through my history, and she was like, have you ever been evaluated for Ehlers-Danlos syndrome? And mind you, at that point, I thought I was crazy. My parents were starting to think I might have been a little crazy because every doctor was telling them I was fine. The whole like doctor system in my town was starting to think I was crazy because I was seeing like every doctor and all of them were saying I was fine. So when she brought that up, I almost screamed of joy that I wasn't crazy. I was like, oh my gosh. And she was like, and I was like, I had to like explain to her, like, they evaluated me, but they said I didn't have it, but I passed, but this, but that, blah, blah. And she was like, oh my gosh, like, yeah, you need to get a second opinion because you definitely have the symptoms and you definitely need to get diagnosed. And to this day, that is the only thing that kept me going for that diagnosis. And I'm very grateful that I didn't give up and that I actually got diagnosed in the end, because it has helped me a lot in my life, figuring out like why I am the way I am when it comes to my health. But anyways, back to the story. So I went back to my primary, and again I was like, hey, so the children's hospital nurse thinks that I might have Ehlers-Danlos syndrome. Like, remember I brought that up to you like a year ago? And my doctor was like, no, you don't have Ehlers-Danlos. And I was like, at that point I was like irritated. I was upset. I was tired of feeling sick and not knowing why. And I remember I asked her like, okay, like, at least can I get a wheelchair to use when I'm having really bad symptoms? And mind you, I also have PAWS, which at that point I was diagnosed. And this lady looks at me dead in the eye and goes, a wheelchair? You don't need a wheelchair. You need a psychiatrist. And I just about lost it at her. Not my finest moment. But I ended up switching primary doctors because of that. So I got a new doctor, told that doctor all about what was happening, my medical history, all of it. Here we go again, right? And at that point, my knees were really starting to act up like bad. Like I couldn't even walk some days. It was so painful. And my kneecap was shifting in and out of the socket as I walked. So that doctor referred me to a specialist. What is it called? It's not podiatry, that's feet. It's like the one for bones. whatever it is. It's like a knee specialist, but he also specializes in other things. So I saw him, and he was very nice, and he did a CAT scan, an MRI, an ultrasound, and an x-ray of my right knee, because the right knee was the one that was really bad. And a few weeks later, I went back to see him to get the results of that, and he was like, oh my gosh, like, how have they never found this before? Your patella, which is like the kneecap, is not fully attached by your ligament, and so it's sliding out of the socket when you bend it. And I was like, yeah, like, I knew it was doing that. I didn't know why it was doing that, but I knew it was doing that. He was like, not only that, you have a torn meniscus. Like, how are you walking with a tear? And I was like, oh my gosh, I have a torn meniscus? Like, I didn't know that. Which I didn't. Like, I had no idea that I'd torn my meniscus. So he booked me for knee surgery a few months later, and I had the knee surgery, and after years of questioning myself, I'm gonna cry. After years of questioning myself, when I came out of surgery, he goes, by the way, did you know you had Ehlers-Danlos syndrome? And I was like what? Like, he's like, your kneecap is the same exact type of kneecap as my other patient that had Ehlers-Danlos, and I've only ever seen kneecaps like yours in patients with Ehlers-Danlos. And since it's like technically any kind of doctor can diagnose you with Ehlers-Danlos, he diagnosed me. And after years of being gaslit and told that it was in my head and told that I was crazy and told that I was willing myself to have symptoms, which yes, I have been told that many times. Being told that I'm trying to get attention, I'm trying to get like sympathy, I'm trying to get money, I'm trying to get free stuff, I'm trying to get whatever. After years of all that, I finally had someone that told me I wasn't crazy. And that was one of the best feelings of my life, and also one of the worst. Because yeah, I'm not crazy, but now I have to live with this diagnosis. And it's hard. It's really hard. As of right now, today May 2nd or May 3rd? I think it's May 2nd. As of May 2nd, 2026, I have now had one knee surgery, a sinus surgery, an endoscopy, countless blood tests. I literally just had a blood test like 3 days ago. Like hundreds and hundreds of x-rays. About 7 CAT scans, 7 MRIs, 3 CAT scans, like 10 ultrasounds, and a whole lot of doctor's visits. And that's just the beginning of the rest of my life. And when I say all that, I mean like within my lifespan. I don't mean like just this year. This year alone, I've had 2 blood tests and a bunch of doctor's visits, and in July, I'm having my 2nd knee surgery. So the first knee surgery was on the right knee, which I'll show you the scar. Fun fact, I actually started this YouTube channel while I was recovering from that knee surgery because I was so bored. And I just hid that I was recovering and nobody knew it. And in some of my first videos, I was on crutches, and you still couldn't tell because I hid it really well, I think. Maybe you could tell. But in July, I'm having my 2nd knee surgery. And what they did in the first knee surgery is they replaced my ligament. So they put a dead person's ligament in my knee, which I still gross out when I think about that. And I kind of get sad for the person. And they fixed the tear in my meniscus. And for the left knee, they're gonna just replace the ligament because as far as they can tell, it doesn't have a tear. But yeah, it's not easy. There's no cure for Ehlers-Danlos. And there's so many like co-conditions that go along with it, and unfortunately I'm a more severe case where I have a lot of the co-conditions. I have Ehlers-Danlos, I have POTS, which is connected back to it. I have scoliosis, which is connected back to it. I have lung issues, which are also connected back to it, because Ehlers-Danlos affects your collagen, and collagen is in everything in humans. It's in our skin, it's in our hair, it's in our nails, it's in our organs, it's in our eyes. Collagen is in everything that we are made up of. And since my collagen is messed up, my body's messed up. I have eye problems. I have digestive problems. I have joint problems. I have asthma. I have sinus issues. Like, the list just goes on and on and on. And it really sucks. Because I'm young. And because I'm young, older people like to believe that it's not possible for me to have all the things I have. Or they like to believe I'm being dramatic about it because wait till you're my age. But what they don't understand is that the way I feel now is the way they feel right now at their age. Because they didn't feel like this at my age. And it sucks. I know I keep saying that, but genuinely that's the best word I can use to describe this. It just sucks. And nowadays I have a really good support system. My friends are some of the best people in my life, and they don't judge me for my health, and they don't call me dramatic, and they don't tell me that I'm weird or that I'm a burden or that I'm any of that. A few years ago I didn't have such a great support system, and I've lost a lot of people because of my health. Even like my parents, like as much as I love them, in the beginning they didn't believe that I had any problems, and they didn't think that I could have those problems because I'm young. But as my issues have gotten more and more severe, and I've seen more and more doctors that confirm that it's not in my head, they have also confirmed that it's not in my head, and they are also a support system I have now. Which I'm lucky, because some people end up like cutting off their parents altogether for stuff like this. So I'm very lucky that they understand it more now than they used to. And I'm still trying to get them to understand things sometimes. But it's nice that they're trying. Anyways, so that's my Ehlers-Danlos story. I'm gonna insert a video that I made which kind of continues the story a little bit and goes into detail. My brain is all over the place right now. I probably left out some stuff that the video has. But yeah, thank you so much for listening, and if you've made it this far, I hope you also stick around for the video I'm about to show. This was way different than most of my videos. I feel like I need to educate people who might not know about it, or that I can help someone that is looking for answers. Because I know I was that person a few years ago. So if you have any questions, feel free to leave a comment. If you have any tips for managing the symptoms, feel free to leave a comment. If you are wanting to know anything else that I forgot to cover, or that you experienced that I might also experience, leave a comment. I love interacting with people. I don't really get comments very often because I am a very small channel, but I'm really hoping that I can start getting more comments and I can start interacting with people because I do love to socialize. But yeah, I'll insert the video now. And thank you for showing up. I love you.
It's been a long week, oh God, I need strength. It's moments like these that make me lose my peace. I've had some hard fights, I've had some late nights. Every tear that I've cried has made me hold on tight to the good days where I find happy in the little things. That's where I find strength. So I'm holding on till night is gone. I know you will come through. I'm giving up all that I've lost. All I need is you. I'm sorry, I've fallen so deep. I'm on my knees realizing you have been my peace. You are all I need. I'm done hiding. It's been a long year, thought it would end here. The damage that's done feels like it can't be undone. I know you've showed up, I know you're enough. You've always been here, just wish it all disappeared. So I'm holding on till night is gone. I know you will come through. I'll give it up, all that I've lost. All I need is you. I'm sorry, I've fallen so deep. I'm on my knees realizing you have been my peace. You are all I need. I'm done hiding. I know you can do it all. There's a million times recalled of how you restore all that's lost. Honestly, I need a break from all this extra pain. The weight that I've been carrying, I'll give it up to you, okay? So I'm holding on till night is gone. I know you will come through. I'll give it up, all that I've lost. All I need is you. I'm sorry, I've fallen so deep.